And I'd like to just wish everybody, I don't know if fall has begun, but the leaves are changing up north, and I'm sure it'll get down here ricky-tick. So with that, I'd like to call this meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Joel?
I'll have Curtis do it.
Oh, Curtis. How about that? Oh, yeah.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. The minutes from our last meeting was posted to the internet, and I think everybody had the opportunity to review those minutes. And I just wanted to see if there was any comments in regards to the minutes of for September. Any discussion regarding that? Okay. Hearing none, I would ask that the minutes be placed on record for prosperity. Okay. Next is audience participation. We have our city staff and manager, director, and commander-in-chief in attendance. But seeing no others, we'll continue on. Old business. Mr. Don Dexter, update for the legend for the map of Memorial Island.
Good morning, Don Dexter of Public Works.
Good morning.
In your packet, you all should have received a copy of the updated map, and it's for your comment and review. We tried to capture everything that was talked about at the last meeting and include it in the map. And any other comments, and we'll move forward with it.
I think everybody has a copy of the map. It looks like this in front of them, along with a legend. And if you go down the legend, the significant changes that were made on the legend there, originally F says National Flag Memorial, and in the previous map legend it was the Grand Flag Memorial, so that was the change there. And then on number H, which it says Cenotaph Square, before that was simply Cenotaph Area. Okay. And then on J, we now have Sundial, and that replaced the previous designation, which was for the World Memorial.
Mm-hmm. And if I could just take a second on the sundial, as we talked about last month, and you all have observed, the sundial is now not getting a whole lot of sun because the oak trees have grown up that are nearby. So you'll notice that the J is moved to the north side of the area by the flag.
Memorial Square.
The Memorial Square. And to me, that looked like a good spot to reposition. It keeps it close to the central area, gathering area, and also is unencumbered by tree shadows in that location. So we should have sunlight.
Have you moved that already?
Have not moved it. I wanted to get your thoughts on it before we moved it.
The old location of J had a little pathway up to it and a little circle there.
It did. What we would do is pour a small concrete pad adjacent to the Memorial Square, so it would be contiguous with that. Another possible option would be in the Cenotaph Square area opposite of where the
water fountain?
Well, no, let's see, I'm trying to remember, Heroes All plaque is at the one corner.
Oh.
We could put it just opposite that. The challenge is that you read the sundial from the south, and so you would catch it as you're walking out, but if you were walking in, you wouldn't necessarily see it. But
you read it from the south.
Mm-hmm.
The sun is down near the equator, more or less.
I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, to view it,
right,
be looking from the south side.
I think that's a good spot for it.
I like it where you suggested.
Okay.
I thought that was a good choice, and my only thought was what was brought up about having the pad available for that, so it's not.
So my thought is rather than a 5 or 6 foot circle to walk around, it would just do like a 2 foot pad or something like that, just to set it on. It would be right there adjacent to the main Memorial Square area.
Adjacent to the flag and the real gathering spot as people
Exactly,
come on
yes.
the island.
Make it very visible for people.
What would they do with the spot then when you take that off? You just leave that there for future
We would
growth,
leave that there,
so to
and
speak?
as someone had mentioned, a World War I memorial possibly at some point, or something else in the future.
Something
So
else
we would
could
have
be.
that little pad of concrete there that would be available for something else.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I think that makes all the sense in the world. Okay. Moving further down on the legend for the changes, the next update was for letter O, and what was accomplished there was previously it was simply POW/MIA, and we added the designation memorial. So it's pretty straightforward. And then the next one, we revised. P was previously Memorial Green, and we updated that to Memorial Sanctuary Field. Okay. And then Q, the only note there was we had talked about service memorials, add an S to memorials. That's pretty minor, but any discussion regards that? Do we want to add that S or just leave it as it is?
We can certainly add the S.
Yeah, I would recommend you add the S.
Okay. It was service memorial, and it's a plural actually, so should have included the S on there, and it did not. So if you would, please. All right. And then the next one, I believe, is S. And we went from Pearl Harbor Survivors to designating that as Pearl Harbor Survivors Memorial. Okay. Then no change to T, and then we added on the legend the Korean War Memorial and Vietnam. And we need to. Is it veterans with apostrophe or plural veterans?
Well, it's possessive, so it would have an apostrophe.
Is it apostrophe?
I think so.
I would
To
think
all
so.
Vietnam veterans. So
Okay, I think it's possessive, so as opposed to okay, so that's correct.
Okay.
And then the last one was historical marker, and technically it is the Florida Heritage Site, so it would be Florida Heritage Marker as opposed to historical marker. So what's the any dialoguing on that? Do we want to retain historical or do we want to put heritage? Because if you look at the actual marker itself, it's a Florida heritage site, so it would be a heritage marker. But
And my thought was when people see those, they were always referred to, as a historical marker. So it was it's common language that people understand immediately what it is.
Okay.
Florida Heritage Marker is just not as common a.
Historical marker, I think, is the more accepted by the gym. Yeah.
Anything heritage is usually historical, so it's
Okay.
redundant.
Wonderful. So I think that's very good. And then the other change was a block added to the sign for points of contact. Some discussion on that. 3 points of contact were listed because they're kind of different venues. First, as far as the overall honors and activities on the islands is managed, or it's the Veterans Council. Okay, that's the intent there. If you want to make a reservation, if you want to know how to fill out the form to make that happen, then you need to call Rob's group, and that's the rec department, and we've given the phone number there for that and the website. And then if somebody had a concern regarding the stewardship and oversight, that would be us, and then I recommended contact through the city clerk's office. Any questions?
Veterans Council of Indian River County, that phone number is from the president. You just need to be advised that that could change yearly.
Do you recommend something else?
Well, that's the city number.
The 5699533 is the city? Then why would it have the Veterans Council of Indian River County?
I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong one.
We have your office. Is that a?
I mean, I don't care if you use my office, but
That won't change, right? I mean,
No. I mean, regardless of who sits in the seat, whether it be me or somebody else.
okay. So what would that number be?
Well, if you use my office number, it'd be 226-1499.
Okay. So I think that's probably more.
But then it wouldn't say Veterans Council of Indian River. I mean, the Veterans Council works out of my office.
But if they contacted you, you could relay the information.
Sure.
And that
Absolutely.
that would provide continuity of
Sure, of the number, so you don't have to go back and keep changing this every year or 2 years whenever the president changes.
Yeah,
You've
you
got to
would
change
be the
numbers again.
POC.
Okay. So
Use mine, so it'd be constant.
226
1499.
772.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So again, that'll be, and then I think that's fine. I don't believe we ought to change that to Veteran Services Officer. I think we needs to
No.
leave that designation.
Because people call us looking for the Veterans Council, and we give them the number anyway.
Okay. Very good.
How about the little circle? Should that? I mean, I guess there's not anything really on there that we would identify, but is it?
On the circle?
We're talking about the flag
the entrance. Okay,
circle
yeah,
on the
the
entranceway.
Yeah.
So does it have a name? What does it have an official?
Have we?
I think we agreed that was not part of Memorial Island at the last
Technically,
meeting.
it's not a part of the
Right.
island. If anything goes out there, though, it would come to the advisory committee for review. So
Well, the only thing that I could say would be is if we wanted to designate WTUVWX would be like sanctuary entrance. So it's not island; it's sanctuary entrance.
Mm-hmm.
But
So-
that would be on the beginning of the bridge, would it not? Because that's the actual entrance. That circle is just.
Well, actually, the circle belongs to the sanctuary. That land was deeded to the sanctuary.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's included in our the city ordinance that
Right.
that east of the bridge, including the traffic circle and its contents, excluding the roadway. So it's part of
Right.
our ordinance that we.
It's part of the
And
ordinance.
not that there's. I mean, just should it be? What did you call it?
Sanctuary entrance is
And I don't know if
or sanctuary.
Yes, who
by
wouldn't know
the
it?
time you've gone past that, I mean, the sign's on the other side
That's
of the
true.
bridge.
And who wouldn't
so-
notice that that's the entrance if they entered there? So, okay, just a thought.
Okay.
And there's
It
nothing.
leaves you room in the alphabet for a couple more memorials that may before we get into the AAs and the BBs.
Yeah.
So-
Double A, double B. Yeah,
Because you got at least one more that's going to go there. You're right. So.
we may.
Okay. Any other?
It looks to me like you all have picked up everything that was suggested at the last meeting, and you've done a real good job. And I think there's enough information here that if anybody needs it, it's here, without adding any more.
Right. And in the future, if we want to provide a kiosk for providing a conduit for information on the veterans, we can look at it. I don't believe that this would be the appropriate location for that. There was an idea regarding that, but I think that would be probably more likely down by the Cenotaph Square. So, anything else in regards to this?
No, we'll make those couple corrections
Okay.
and move forward.
The only other thing is it'll connect with later on is would you share this with the engineering engineering section? Tom, Jim,
GIS.
Kirkpatrick.
Smith?
Kirkpatrick.
GIS.
Yeah, because he will use this legend to update the 2012 map that reflects also.
Yeah, we're all
Yeah.
one happy group, so
Okay,
Jim will get a copy of this. As a matter of fact, he's already looked at it. So
Okay, good, because this does impact on that. Okay. Yes.
Very well done.
Then we
Okay.
decided that he will move the sundial from where it is to where it is,
Yes.
or where it is to where it will be. Okay.
I don't believe.
You don't need any type of motion or anything to do that, do we?
I think so.
We just do
No,
it, right?
just,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
It's under the purview. I don't see it as a substantive, alteration of the island, and I think that's something that we're missioned to support. So, okay. Anything else in regards to that? That's wonderful. You've done a heck of a good job. The service marker restoration.
We did get a price from a company to clean the units in place, and we thought it was quite high, almost as much as replacing the markers themselves. So we're going to attempt to remove one of the existing markers without causing any damage and see if we can pop it off. It was substantially less expensive to remove them and mail them off. So that's on our list of things to give a try, and we'll go from there.
Okay. All right.
Excuse me, would that be like with Veterans Day coming up November, or would they be? Would we wait until after that? Or
I would wait until after, just in case, because you never know what's going to happen with shipping time and things like that. So I would wait until after.
And then we'd have time to get them done before May, when we have the 50th as well as Memorial Day.
We have plenty of time to do that. Yeah. And just one other kind of a maintenance note, we had a contractor go out and pressure clean the stamped concrete walkway and reseal it. So that was finished on Monday afternoon. It looks gorgeous out there. We're going to have our own crews in-house clean and reseal the concrete tiles that are on the bridge deck itself, and we hope to have that done before Veterans Day.
It's funny because I had one of the county officials come up to me and said, "What's going on with Memorial Island? The walkway's being, what are you doing with the walkway?" And I said, no, I said, Don's got it under control. it's beautiful. So, no, there's a lot of folks that go out to the island, and, when things are being done there, it is noticed post-haste.
And the people were very gracious. A couple came up to ask questions, but everyone respected the sidewalk closed signs, which is nice for a change. Sometimes people ignore things like that. But the contractor was able to move along as quickly as he could with all of the rain we had over the last couple of weeks. So, yeah. But it is finished and open for traffic.
Okay.
Good.
The other question that's not here was Nanette was going to bring down one of the palms that was infected. Was that necessary? Was that done? Or
it was done.
Okay.
It was removed, and we're not sure if we can replace a palm in that spot because we think that the fungus may be soil-borne, and so it's in the soil, and you don't want to put the same type of palm tree back in there because it'll destroy it too.
Are you treating the soil?
At this point, we don't know what to do. She's researching that and trying to see if there's a way to sterilize the soil, so to speak, but it's one of those pests that is just hard to control. The best thing to do is to get the infected tree out of the way and hope it doesn't spread to the other ones.
Wow. Okay. All right. Anything else for the committee?
It.
Thanks. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Okay. And Mr. Slezak, there was a memorial service that was held this past month. I just wondered if you could kind of just make note of what's available for the public, as if they want to take advantage of that for Memorial.
Rob Slezak, Recreation Director. Bottom line is that the island is available for those people if you are looking to memorialize those folks that live within this community in this county. And the other thing is, of course, they need to go through the approval process of everyone, all the veterans organizations. And then the other thing that's most important usually is to get that DD 214 as well. And out of respect for the island and everything that it brings, we have to have all these things satisfied. But it is an opportunity for folks.
And if you have ashes of your loved one, they are not on the island. It's into the river as far as
correct. There are specific rules regarding where you can spread the ashes, and that was approved through your group and also the city council. So you have to abide by those as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to have a memorial, if it's a private family gathering, and it's simply their family, they're not looking at having to pay anything to do that. That's simply they need to contact you so we're aware of what's going on.
Correct. And we want to make sure that they satisfy everything that we've asked from them.
Good.
They just have to be sure that they make arrangements so that the right governmental body knows what's going on.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Good. All right. Thanks, Ron.
Thanks.
Okay. Next is the Veterans Memorial Island Sanctuary 50th anniversary for old business, and I'm bringing that up because, again, I want to keep that in the forefront of our minds so that as we look forward to next May 2014, we look at all the options available. Being a soldier as I am, I have a certain area of contacts, and then Colonel Zickert, being an Air Force type, has some contacts, and so I went to our third agent, and that being the Navy, and our airport manager is a naval aviator, and I asked him likewise to look at his contacts. So if we can look at the potential of maybe a contingent from either the Guard or one of the active services for that ceremony, that would be something that would add a lot of dignity to that. So that's what I'm considering, as well as what we've discussed previously, which is that it would be a combination recognition of the guardians of the island and the memorial service, and potentially having a small parade that would come from either the tennis courts or over at the gazebo, and then come onto the island. So I would ask everybody to continue to consider that. And
there's another remote possibility. This weekend is the air show, and the Blue Angels are due. They said no matter what, they would be there. You might be able to get them because it is veteran related to flyover.
I believe the air show is Memorial Day is going to be after the air show, I think. It's later in the month, yeah.
Yeah, because they're having another one.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But, it's
a thought.
John, if you've got a Marine Corps element that might enjoy coming to this lovely town of Vero Beach, that would be impressive.
Maybe the Marines at 4th Anglico in West Palm Beach. It's not too far away, and they have helped us in the past with other things. So
okay.
I'll see if I can.
Okay.
Now, the 50th anniversary is going to be on Memorial Day. So
yes.
And it is, I guess the Veterans Council was formed, as you know, but for the community was formed initially to coordinate activities for Veterans Day and Memorial Day. So will the Veterans Council still be the lead?
Oh, without a doubt. I don't want to misconstrue that.
But we want to, as part of that ceremony, is to recognize the 50th anniversary of the island. So.
Amen. Right. Ma'am? Okay.
Good.
All right. Moving to Chairman's Matters. There was a contribution made in this last month in honor of Marjorie D. Conopaska by Miss Shirley Ryan, and I just would like to express our appreciation, and that would go to the funds that support Memorial Island. And in the letter that was shared to the board, it states that Marjorie loved the island and went there many times during the year. She worked in Washington in the Nixon era in the intelligence and was a lovely lady. So,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
I'd like to add to that. Marjorie Conopaska was a real gem that came to this community about, she got here just a few years before the hurricanes of 2004. But she and Mr. Jim, they moved here, and I don't know two other people who became more interested in Vero Beach and everything that went on, particularly Veterans Memorial Island, Environmental Learning Center, McKee Botanical Garden. You name it. Marge and Dr. Jim were there. So they left here back in the early spring, and she went back to Rochester, New York, and so she lived the last few years of her life in Vero Beach, and she was one of the best boosters that we could ever have. So it is this contribution really reminds me of how special Margie was. So I just am grateful to Shirley for sending it to us. So we lost a good friend.
We did. Veterans Day ceremony. This is October 2nd. November 11th is right around the corner. The Veterans Council has asked and will have Scott Carson, Colonel Carson, as the guest speaker. It's a happy day. It's a day of festivity and of recognition of the veterans. And in context with that, this Veterans Day, the president for the Veterans Council has asked to have the veterans, the senior veterans, to come up on stage. So it'll be a little bit different, but the veterans will be up on stage and get a little bit more recognition.
Do we still have that lift available?
Oh, we do.
Okay.
We do.
Check.
And the point was, Rob, would you make sure that the lift is included when they bring the stage over?
Yeah. Let's.
A couple things. Yeah, no problem about the lift. The other thing was time-wise, what are we looking at? 9?
9 o'clock.
Okay.
Right.
And who's your contact? Is it going to be you, Tony?
You can
Are you
use
going to
me.
be the one so we can meet with you and just
Right.
get the logistics
I
down?
will work with Scott Carson and share the wealth there.
Okay.
And I believe your coordination meeting for that will be the end of October time, or mid-October.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely
Just
have
let-
that.
let me know what that is.
Yeah, we'll make sure. 9 a.m. And Tony. Okay. Sounds good. And is John going to do the program?
I hope
You
so.
got that taken care of?
We haven't gotten to the Veterans Council this afternoon.
We let the cat out of the bag on that one.
I don't drive that train, sir.
I was looking at your notes from, I guess, Memorial Day, and did we find a bayonet for the battle
I
cross?
have not chased that rabbit down the hole. I know that they were still in pursuit of one, and that believe it or not, the sheriff's department didn't have one, which
They don't assault too many positions with a bayonet,
so
maybe I can help track that down too.
okay, that would be great. Okay. But in speaking of the Soldier's Cross, which was used this last ceremony, I have seen a representation of that up north. So it is something that in other veterans memorial parks is something that is definitely included. Okay. The next is the Veterans Island trifolds. Last month we provided those, and I wanted to put those on the screen and just go through those those three, so that everybody had an opportunity to provide input to me. And then what the intent will be is to take these comments and then make the modifications and come back. So let me walk over there. All right. If you, can you see this on your screen?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay. This is the first design of the trifold. The front page of it is a collage, and the modification that has already been made. If you look on the screen, the one on the screen has the mother's and child chopped in half. That has been lowered to the middle of the page, and we've retained the Soldier's Cross as well as the map of the island. One change that will be made, and that was suggested last time, was that we replace the front entrance photograph to one that includes the service flags above the name of Veterans Memorial Island. We have a photo of that John provided, and that will be included. The second recommendation that was made was the color guard there is a stately color guard of the fire department, but I'm in search of a stately one of potentially soldiers or Air Force members or a military service organization. So if you're aware of that, provide that to me, email me that, because I think that's more consistent with the intent of the island. And then on the lest we forget, the designation there was updated, and Joel corrected my Army compass. Originally, we had located east of Riverside Park, and the island is west of Riverside Park, so that will be placed there along with the phone number and covb.org. So if somebody would want to reserve or coordinate for the island, they would contact the Recreation Department. Any other comments in regards to the front page for that one? Okay, and I've got to shift screens here. Okay. On the back of this trifold is the map, and that's what I was alluding to earlier. This map is it says 2013, but it does need to be reconciled with what we've just recommended for changes. Okay, so the intent of this trifold is twofold. One, to kind of reflect the ceremonies that are held on the island, so if people are interested in that, they understand the intent. And secondly, to provide a map, so if folks are interested, they have that available to them. Okay, so that's the first design. And moving to the second, this is the second design. Conceptually, what we have done there is looked at this and then updated the address for the front cover, and then the photograph of the entrance would be changed to the flag entrance, and the top photograph of Memorial Island, which is kind of a black and white old depiction, replaced. I'm on the wrong one. How did I? This is number 3. I'm sorry. Let me go back. Here's number 2. I'm sorry. Here we go. So if you look at this, you've got the flag with the address updated, and then you've got the new photograph of the island, which would be retained. The other picture replaced with the flags, and then the top one, this map would be replaced with the photograph of the woman and child at the ceremony. And then this depiction of the JFK quote would be replaced with the lest we forget, and then so basically it's focused on our island as opposed to a national quote. All right. And then if we go to the back of that one, let me get there. This was the design that is to kind of describe about the island, and the discussion that we had last time I think was appropriate, and that basically what it is would be updated to reflect that it's a place of reflection, it's hallowed ground, it's a community memorial, and it's an island for patriotic ceremonies and a sanctuary for veterans. Then on the right, that depiction of what it is not would be completely removed and would be replaced with the designation for the advisory committee, and basically the contact information updated. So that's that page there. questions on that?
Yeah, one on the please contact the Veterans Council for any comments that you have in the center, where it says questions concerning
Got that.
activity in reference to a veteran of Indian River County. Shouldn't that all be caps? Or
Yes, it will.
not
That's
caps, but,
what do you call the word? Yeah, that would be updated to
to show the V is capitalized. The
You're right.
Indian River,
All of the syntax or whatever the proper terminology
Yeah.
would be revised to make it appropriate.
And one question: the picture at the bottom, was that taken when the Vietnam
Yes.
Memorial?
Yeah.
That's a nice picture.
Yes.
Mike Bodner, I think.
Is that Mike? You think
It
Mike
is.
Bodner,
It is.
uh-huh.
Hey, we can get him to sign one.
Tony,
Yes, ma'am.
whose telephone number is that?
The 6778 should be revised to reflect.
2144 number.
Yeah.
Joel's number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Joel's
Well,
number.
Yeah, you got
In other words,
you got the city's
that
numbers on the rest of them, 567-2144, and all the other brochures that you have.
But that's the recreation department.
Right.
Right, but I mean, for comments, suggestions, or questions concerning activity, I mean, you can put my number. It doesn't matter. But I figured since you have the other numbers on the other brochures,
Okay.
that number would probably go there.
Okay. And off the top of my head, I can't tell you what is the contact.
It's on 567.
Yeah, the 214.
Okay. 2144. Okay. All right. All right. And then the third design, which I had spoke to earlier, is the one that gives a little bit of the beginnings and the history of the island. And the front page would be updated to include, of course, the Marine Corps days and as well as I believe what was the other designation that we had there. But basically, we would update the calendar to reflect the Marines, and I believe the Army birthday isn't on there either. And what else? The front panel would not bleed through on the pass and review on the right-hand side, which is what's happened right now. And the address would be updated to reflect Riverside Park instead of Dahlia Lane. And the dates, okay, Marine Corps Birthday, delete Loyalty Day, Peace Officer Day, and National Defense Memorial. And then we would include the Memorial 50th anniversary for us on Memorial Day, as well as add the Army Birthday to Flag Day, and delete Juneteenth,
Thank you.
which is not appropriate.
See, did you say POWMIA Day? Should that, since we have such a nice
Yes.
monument there? Is
That would have to be updated to 2014, but it would be the appropriate day in September in 2014 because it's passed. Okay. And the next page, and the number, of course, here is no longer 73, it's 78 because we added 5 in May, so that would be revised to have the correct number. All right. And then the second page, the second page, beginning, the words for that have been revised, and I will provide that to you. But basically, if you look at the second half of the bottom paragraph, it does not take note of the more recent changes, like the in 81 when the sanctuary was created, and then the 90s when the island was refurbished with the development of Riverside Park, and then 2003 with the designation of our advisory committee. Okay, and then the update of the numbers of the cenotaphs as well as the memorials. And finally, on the history portion will be updated to reflect that Helen did pass in 2012, and that she worked tirelessly to make the vision of her father, Alex McWilliam, a reality, and that he served in World War I, was decorated for bravery, and was decorated by Pershing with a Distinguished Service Cross, and led the committee of 57 men and 37 women to dedicate Memorial Island. And then lastly, the fact that Alma Lee was part from the beginning, and that fruit crates were the first benches, and originally the Gold Star veterans were honored with palm trees and the marble stones. So it will remain consistent, but it needs to be revised. I will provide that to everybody.
Okay, under the history.
Yes, ma'am.
You are aware that Ann Keene passed away?
No.
Yes,
okay.
just a few months ago.
Okay.
And I'm looking at the bottom.
Yes.
Where it says 17 Vietnam War veterans in Owens.
I'm trying.
That's the very last.
Okay, yeah, under the history.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be revised. Basically, that is revised to Petty Officer Scott Owen, the casualty of the USS Cole, is the most recent veteran honored for his sacrifice for country. Okay. But I think we have 3 trifolds with that each serve a distinct role. And what I would like from the council is, as you look at these, our recreation department for the city has several venues, to include the tennis courts and rivers and the Leisure Square. So that's an opportunity to provide word out to the community, as well as providing one of these to the Chamber of Commerce, so that that's made available to visitors that come here. So there's multiple venues that we could use to basically get the word out on one of the things that makes Vero so special. Okay.
I got a question for you there, and maybe you answered it and I just wasn't paying attention, where you got talk about 17 Vietnam War veterans. You're going to update that to, 18 World War I. Right. Okay, yeah, but I missed that.
Okay. And I will provide that update to Rita, and she can forward it to everybody, so we can make the the revisions that we see, and then get that completed. Okay.
Wow.
All right. Okay. I need to add two more comments. One is yesterday at the Vero Beach City Council meeting, the application from Ken Dage to serve as the second alternate to the Memorial Island Sanctuary Committee was reviewed and approved unanimously. So, Ken, welcome aboard. I'll see you next month. He feels the departure of Colonel Wheeler, Rip, and thank you for your service. And Ken is a veteran and city councilman from 2010 and longtime resident, so I'm looking forward to working with him. And last, Richard Martin provided the committee 2 contributions. One was information from the World War II Museum, and I would just say thank you for that. And also information regarding Amelia Earhart and her interest in what happened out at the Navy Air Station, which was here in World War II, and a recommendation for the Vero Beach Air Show, which I will relay to Colonel Zickert. And that's a good segue for the air show, which is Saturday and Sunday. So please come out to the airport for that. The ceremony begins at noon, and it will have local dignitaries as well as those from state. I think Congressman Posey is going to be there, and there'll be a lot of activities. So, members, anything? Barb?
That's where I was referring to the Blue Angels. Are they not flying over?
Not for this one. This is kind of the setup or the warm up for the next one, which is what.
My understanding is
it's
coming next year. The Blue Angels.
The one in May that I had mentioned before. Okay.
And John?
Yes, sir. I talked to M.J. Wicker, who is kind of a semi-famous local entertainer and who was a Marine also and stationed at 8th and I, the Marine headquarters in Washington, D.C. And he's written a few patriotic songs. One is called Thank You to our veterans and others and the first responders and such. And he had volunteered his service. This may be something more appropriate for the Veterans Council, or possibly for our 50th if we need someone to sing. And he volunteered to do it for free. And he's well known and is talented and has written a song. So I just thought I'd mention that if anyone wants to.
That sounds like an anniversary.
One for our anniversary.
Could well be. Could well be.
Wow. Thank you. Joel?
No,
Yes.
okay. Nothing.
Ma'am?
You got them all.
Okay. And the alternate can't speak because he is here.
Happy to be here.
Yes, sir. Glad to have this infantry aboard.
Thank you.
Okay. The next meeting is the 6th of November. Sir, thank you for joining us this morning. I appreciate it. And for everybody in watching, thank you and have a good October. This is adjourned.
Thank you.